It's Women on Wednesday on The Dana Barrett Show.
No big surprise. Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith has won her bid for Senate over Democrat Mike Espy in Mississippi in the runoff that occurred yesterday. She won by a fairly wide margin. It was about an 8% margin that she had. That, however, was less than what was originally predicted from a margin perspective. It was also a smaller margin than Mississippi has seen in a very long time in really any of their votes, governor, senator, and even president. And it was significantly less. I think Trump won Mississippi by 18% just 2 years ago. So it does show that there are more people coming out to vote who are bluer or less interested in, Trump and his ilk. But, it is a very red state and has been for a very long time. So, again, no big surprise there. But it did get me thinking this Women on Wednesday. So also, by the way, with this, additional woman now heading to Washington, we first of all, just for the record, this is not a female thing, just an in general thing. I think the final tally in the Senate following the midterms, it's done now, and I believe it is 53 to 47 in the Senate. So 53 Republican to 47 Democrats in the Senate. And then in the House, there's still about, I want to say there's still a handful of races outstanding, but it's looking like the Democrats have picked up around 40 seats in the House, so they have a significant majority there. But also of note, more women than ever serving in Congress. And of course, Cindy Hyde-Smith is one of them. And it got me thinking, bringing it back now to the female theme, about, our spokespeople. Who represents us in any of our groups, whether it's your racial group, your religious group, your gender group, or your gender identity group, whatever. And I start, on the one hand, I'm glad to see more women and more people of color and more people that are gender diverse in general making it into these roles. On the other hand, if it's a person that, air quotes, represents my group, and I don't think they are truly representative of me, just the sole fact that it's a woman isn't good enough. And I think that is actually the way a lot of people felt about Hillary during the election. I mean, there were a lot of women who don't like Hillary. We can get into a whole show just about that. But putting that aside, who didn't feel like Hillary was who they wanted. And even though she was a woman, they could not bring themselves to vote for her just because she was a woman. And I agree with that. I don't think we should be voting for someone just because they are Black or a woman or Native American or gay or whatever it is. I think we should be voting for the best candidates, and we should have more of, a more diverse group running in general. But we should still pick the best candidate, white men, and it could be the one. It could be a group of 4 people running, and maybe the white male is the best. And I don't think that always happens. I think there is this sort of celebration of, oh, my group is represented. It doesn't really matter that person isn't who I would pick. But I think this is what was so interesting. And then I guess part of the reason this has bubbled up in my head is that during the whole Brett Kavanaugh, Christine Blasey Ford debacle, 2 women senators, 2, yeah. I've tried to block it out, people, as best I can. Bubbled up to the forefront, 2 Republican women in particular. And, women in general, I think, placed a lot of their hopes on those 2 senators, thinking they were going to potentially come in and save the day just because they were women. One did and one didn't. And ultimately the day wasn't saved. And so that is the danger, I think, in saying, well, she's a woman, so she must get me. No, she might not. And, Cindy Hyde-Smith in particular, look, I don't know entirely what her platforms are. I don't know what she believes. I know she's a Republican, but I do know that the comment that she made, whether on purpose or inadvertently, and I said yesterday and I'll say again, I believe she did not do it on purpose. But the comment that she made was so wrong, and her, lackluster, better late than never apology didn't cut it for me. And the fact that right after it happened and all the dust up occurred online, that she didn't actually get it. And she said that. She was sort of like, I don't get it. I don't understand what the big deal is. That in and of itself is the reason I don't like her as a senator representing women. You know, she can represent Mississippi. They chose her. That's fine. But she's not a spokesperson for women. She's not someone I would want my daughter to look up to. You got to be a little more aware than that when you're in that kind of role. I mean, it's the same story as Megyn Kelly on TV talking about blackface on Halloween and not getting why it wasn't okay. Like taking a couple of days to get it and only sort of getting it when her job was in jeopardy. That's not good enough. We all make mistakes. I was saying to Nick yesterday off air, and I'm not going to even say what it was on air because I don't want to get in trouble. But I was saying, you know, I have made slips of the tongue. I grew up in a slightly different era. I'm a little bit older than he is, certainly, and then maybe some of you. And I, you know, but because I grew up around certain phrases and words, like sometimes one of those will just fly out of my mouth without any forethought. But when it's pointed out to me, I hope I do my best to understand the problem. And if I really believe that I'm wrong, to just apologize as quickly as possible and without all the caveats. And I think that there's nothing wrong with us expecting that from our elected officials or media personalities or sports people or whomever. If you're in the public eye and you're a role model, air quoting that, then you have a responsibility to either zip your lip, or if you're in the job of speaking like politicians are and talk radio hosts are and TV hosts are, then if you can't zip your lip because it's your job to talk, be ready to apologize. It's like you don't leave home without your credit card. Well, you shouldn't go on the air without your apology card in your back pocket. You should know how to do that if you mess up. Say you're sorry. Just practice. We need to teach our kids sorry, I think, better than we do. That's just a whole other issue. In any case, look, Cindy Hyde-Smith is there. It was closer in Mississippi, there being the Senate. It was closer in Mississippi than it has been in many, many years. We saw what happened here in Georgia with the 6th congressional district and, the Democrat loss in the runoff or the special election, and then Lucy McBath coming back and taking the seat in the midterms. So all of these races across the country that were so much closer than they were before have got to have the Republican Party nervous. They just do. So we'll see what happens in 2 more years. It's going to be